Hi everyone. Today we are diving into a vehicle that rarely gets the spotlight it deserves, but quietly became one of the most reliable workhorses of the German military in World War II, the Steyr 1500A. On the surface, it looks like an ordinary mid-century utility truck, but beneath that simple exterior lies a machine that was trusted across thousands of miles of rough roads, harsh climates, and frontline conditions that would break lesser designs. Introduced into production in 1942, the Steyr 1500A was built by Steyr Daimler Puch and, later under license, by Auto Union AG in Germany. Over the course of the war, almost 30,000 vehicles based on this design were manufactured in various versions, making it one of the most numerous German 4x4 military cars of the period. Its official factory designation was Steyr 270, but most soldiers simply knew it as the 1500A, a vehicle intended to replace multiple older designs and simplify maintenance and logistics in the field. Mechanically, the heart of the Steyr 1500A was a distinctive air-cooled V8 gasoline engine with a displacement of 3,517 cubic centimeters. That translates to about 3.5 liters, and its power output was around 85 horsepower. What mattered even more than horsepower was torque, typically around the level needed to pull heavy loads through difficult terrain without stalling or overheating. Unlike water-cooled engines that could freeze or boil in extreme climates, the air-cooled design was rugged and less vulnerable to battlefield damage. The truck weighed approximately 4,000 kilograms, which equals about 8,818 pounds. Its payload capacity was around 1,500 kilograms, roughly 3,307 pounds, allowing it to carry troops, equipment, or supplies without being overloaded. The dimensional footprint was quite practical. Overall length about 50-30 millimeters, around 16.5 feet, width roughly 20-30 millimeters, about 6.7 feet, and height near 2,300 millimeters, which is about 7.5 feet. The vehicle rode on a wheelbase of approximately 3,250 millimeters, or 10.7 feet, and had a ground clearance of about 225 millimeters, which is nearly 9 inches, giving it decent articulation off paved surfaces. A wet-weather driver's nightmare in other designs became one of the Steyr's strengths. Its four-wheel drive system could be engaged when needed, and the truck featured a 2-speed transfer case with a front axle disconnect. This allowed it to travel on roads in rear-wheel drive mode for better fuel economy, and then switch to full 4x4 when terrain became difficult. It also had independent suspension at the front with torsion bars and a robust, solid rear axle on leaf springs, giving it a surprisingly sure-footed ride for a military vehicle of its era. Hydraulic brakes on all four wheels helped stop the truck despite its weight, and rough tires that could be swapped for larger desert configurations when operating in North Africa. In terms of performance, the Steyr 1500A was capable of reaching up to around 105 kilometers per hour, equivalent to about 65 miles per hour on smooth roads, an impressive figure for a wartime four-wheel drive truck. Fuel consumption was heavy by today's standards, averaging around 24 liters per 100 kilometers, which is roughly 9.8 miles per gallon, and its range was about 420 kilometers, or roughly 260 miles, on a full tank of approximately 100 liters of fuel. Cross-country speed was naturally lower, but the vehicle's design emphasized mobility over pace, and it rarely let operators down when conditions were bad. Unlike many standardized military trucks that stick to one purpose, the Steyr 1500A was a multi-role vehicle from the start. One of the most common versions was the Mannschaftswagen, essentially an 8-seat personnel carrier used to move soldiers quickly and reliably over terrain that would defeat most civilian trucks. Cargo variants with flatbeds or canvas covers were used to haul everything from ammunition to radios, while specialized sanitary versions carried wounded men away from the front. Communication variants were fitted with radio gear and tall antennas, turning the truck into a mobile command post, essential in fluid operations where static headquarters were rare. Some were adapted to tow light artillery pieces or trailers, and a few were even seen with improvised anti-aircraft mounts or custom equipment, testament to how much military forces relied on this platform. There were two main production variants of the Steyr 1500A. Early units, designated 1500A/01, carried their spare wheel inside the rear body and were built roughly from late 1941 until about mid-1942. Later units, known as 1500A/02, moved the spare wheel outside, a minor but distinctive change that marked the shift to improved field practicality and easier access. Some late-war vehicles even omitted rear fenders to save material as resources grew scarce.
In service, the Steyr was valued for more than just its specs. On the Eastern Front, where temperatures swung from freezing winters to muddy thaws, the Steyr's air-cooled engine and rugged drivetrain stood up to conditions that crippled many water-cooled vehicles. In North Africa, the ability to fit larger tires and the dependable engine made it a favorite among units operating far from paved highways. Across Western Europe, it served as a reliable staff car and transport platform, often arriving at places where other trucks simply could not. Its ability to combine off-road mobility, reasonable road speed, and a respectable payload made it a true workhorse of mechanized armies. But the Steyr was not perfect. Fuel consumption was high, and the V8, though robust, was more complex than simpler inline engines, requiring disciplined maintenance. As the war progressed and Germany's industrial situation deteriorated, the costly and somewhat sophisticated truck was gradually replaced in many units by simpler designs that were easier to produce and repair. However, where it remained in service, it was respected and trusted, a quiet backbone of wartime logistics rather than a headline-grabbing weapon. After the war, surviving Steyr 1500A vehicles found new lives. Many were repurposed for civilian use in forestry, agriculture, and transport in post-war Europe. Others remained in military service with occupying and allied forces. Its influence also extended into post-war designs, and the basic engineering philosophy lived on in Steyr and related commercial truck lines developed in the decades after 1945. The Steyr 1500A may not have been a tank or a fighter, but in the machinery of war it was exactly what it needed to be: tough, capable, adaptable, and reliable. When everything else failed or got stuck, the Steyr kept going. And that's a legacy worth remembering.